so I can start rehearsing tomorrow. But did everyone enjoy it? Just to go over again how this is going to run. Welcome, all these are the student performances. So we have 5 students performing for you, and also welcome our greater audience, because this is being streamed live over our YouTube channel. So welcome everyone out there, not just the students. We normally do this live, but because of current conditions, we're going to do this in a kind of a semi-live Q&A format. So this is the first time we're doing it. I'm just going to thanks in advance to Fred Hollingsworth, our engineer, who is going to be kind of acting as the radio TV producer almost, who's going to be shuttling back and forth between videos and us. I'm going to be trying to spotlight people, so I can't promise this will go 100% perfectly technically, but we'll do our best. So what we've decided to do is we have 5 students who have pre-prepared videos which they've submitted. We have them here today. We're going to ask them to say a few words before or after. And as usual, I would like to encourage you all to use the chat function and comment constructively. I think we decided that the best way to do this would be for you to take notes, as I'm going to do, and put in some chat comments at the end, maybe think of some questions, and we will field them and send them on to the performers, and we're going to have a little chance to talk with the performers afterwards in between. So let's see, we've got 6 more coming in. I would ask you all to keep your mutes on, keep your videos on. I've given the performers the permission to turn their videos off during their performances, so we can at least have the illusion that they're performing for us. And also they said to hide some of their cringes. So we all know what it's like listening to ourselves. So I'm sure you're going to give them all the support they deserve and the constructive comments and compliments and questions that I know you're all capable of. So without further ado, I think that's everyone. Let's get started. So I'm going to start with our first act, which is Fiona Todd on accordion.
Today, I'm going to start with a traditional Morris jig titled The Bow of London City. I hope you enjoy. I'm now going to continue with a more European set, and this is a tune by one of my favourite melodeon players, Raphael de Coste, and this tune is called Grey Blanket. I hope you enjoy. for listening.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Fiona. That was terrific. Let's see if we can get you on. Well, let me see if I can find you. There you are. I'm going to spotlight you. Welcome. I suppose I should spotlight now. So thanks for that. We've gotten a lot of, you've seen the chat comments, and some people who have never heard an accordion before. And so that's one great thing about making music here and performance at Newcastle. We're getting exposed to things from different traditions. But what a lot of people are saying is your stage presence, how comfortable, how passionate, how engaged. And one thing I noticed is you seem to be looking right at me. You kind of really understood how to look right at the camera lens, which is not easy to do. Sometimes you kind of look at yourself and then you're not, but you really seem to be able to play and then look right at us and invite us in. How that seems to come from experience. What's your experience? How come you're so comfortable performing for us?
First off, thanks for all the lovely comments, everyone. I guess I've just kind of gotten used to it over time. I wouldn't say there's anything in particular that's kind of helped me be comfortable performing. Just used to it by now, I guess.
So, I mean, how many years have you been performing with a group? Do you perform with your family? What's your background? How did you come to the accordion?
I started off in a youth folk band back in my hometown, and that kind of just, there's kind of a lot of performing as a group, which just kind of gave me a lot of experience in that way.
Great. And where are you going to take those two pieces over the next year?
I don't know yet. Hope I'll play them in my recital, I guess.
Oh, but you're not sure. But these are kind of, you had a couple pieces. You're the first for a performance of the year, so these are kind of pieces you had locked and loaded and ready to go for us. And so you may or may not include these in your recital and final recital. Yeah. Great. Well, thanks again. That was really lovely. So I'm going to pass on to our next performer, who is Anna Diaz, soprano. And I'm going to get you, Anna, on Spotlight. How am I getting Fiona off Spotlight? Let's see if I can just get Anna on, and I'll figure out. There's Anna. Hello, Anna. Let's spotlight you.
Hello.
Hi, Emma. So you are going to sing two songs for us, one in Italian and one in I was going to say Greek, one in German. Can you explain them, the context of each of them? One is an aria from an opera, and the other is a lied. Yeah.
Yes. So the first piece is V'adoro Pupille from Handel's Giulio Cesare, and it's sung by Cleopatra, and she's trying to seduce Caesar from afar and creating a beautiful tableau of beautifulness. And then the second one is Die Goethe Griechenlands by Schubert, and it's essentially saying, lovely world, where are you? And the memory of, well, all the memories are only found in song. So yeah.
Lovely, Anna. We might call you back afterwards, but thanks for that. So Fred, I'll pass it over to you. Let's hear Anna Diaz sing a couple tunes for us.
I am going to sing V'adoro Pupille from Handel's opera Giulio Cesare, followed by Schubert's Die Goethe Griechenlands. And I would like to thank Caroline Dowdall and Sam Ling for allowing me to use their pre-recorded accompaniment for the second piece.
Se
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Anna, for those two beautiful renditions of an opera aria and a Schubert lied, a Schubert song. Let's get you on. Where are you? There you are. Let's get you spotlit for us. Welcome, Anna. How did you feel listening to that? Did you cringe?
Yeah, I had my camera off so I could cringe in private. But it's just, I find it really strange listening back. I think that you can be 10 times more critical about yourself when you listen back. So
yeah, so what things do you listen to? What things did you not like about that? And what things did you like about your own performance?
I always think I look really funny when I sing, so that's why I don't like watching myself. But
well, that's not what the comments are saying. Everyone is extremely impressed by how you're holding yourself. So I hope you take some
yeah, that's very encouraging. Thanks, everyone. Yeah, I think the comments have actually been really helpful because I always think that I look really silly, but no, it's hard to keep looking at the camera. That's probably the biggest challenge with it being virtually, is keeping focused on the camera all times.
It was interesting, even though those are two very different pieces from, different settings, different languages, different time periods, they are both, in a way, da capo, aren't they?
Yeah.
Can you explain to us what a da capo aria is?
I sing one bit, and then I sing another bit, and then I sing the first bit again.
Yes, so it's basically in tertiary or ABA form. So there's always a repeat. And it was interesting that in the Schubert that it returned to the Schönewald at the end, obviously slightly abbreviated. And the question always is, the B section is usually a contrast. And then when you go back, of course, in the handle, you did some ornaments there. How do you come up with your ornaments?
Listening to other recordings, sometimes just making them up and see what happens. Sometimes they can be really awful and sometimes they can be really good, but I think the main thing is making sure that I can actually sing them, not making them too complicated.
I think it has to fit your voice, doesn't it? I should be asking, does anyone have any questions for Anna that they'd like to deliver in person or via the chat? Now, of course, I can't see everyone, so it might be better if you just put it in the chat. The people are saying, as you can see, that you seem to really understand the language that you're speaking, you're singing. It's hard to sing in a different language, and the fact that you appear and certainly do understand what you're singing is very hard to achieve. In addition to the breath control, I was going to talk to you about ornamentation and trills, but that's for another time. But they were both very, very stylish. I think interesting in the Cleopatra, something to think about is this is when she's seducing Caesar. So this is the bit that people have, the famous story of Cleopatra sneaking into the palace, being rolled up in a carpet. And in some productions, she's kind of thrown out. When I sing Caesar, sometimes she comes in on a carpet and she's unrolled in the carpet, and she's really seducing Caesar. And there's this kind of coquettishness. And I wonder whether she has a sense that she's in love with Caesar yet. What do you think?
I agree. I think this is one that's hard to sing in when you haven't got an audience, because it's really hard to flirt with the camera. Yeah. You can't really flirt with the camera. But yeah, I think she really does like him, and she just has her eye on what she wants, which is fine.
Wondering, Anna, and we have to kind of move on, but I'm wondering if you could experiment with focus. If you're going to do this in a video, again, picture Caesar. So in other words, as it is, you're singing to us. So you're seducing us, which is lovely. It's fabulous. We all appreciate that. And the connection with us is great, as we saw with Fiona. But perhaps if Caesar was the side a little bit, as if he's just off camera, so you're performing, seducing someone off to the side, but not us, so we can see somehow we're watching something happening that we're not involved in. It might be worth experimenting with camera focuses, and I hold that out to the other finalists as you consider what you're going to submit in your interims. Think about using different camera focuses, different ways of putting your body And you did that, of course, very well last year, Anna. You don't always have to just stand and deliver right to the lens, but you can play with maybe even singing sideways. And don't forget, you're going to have your Zoom recorder perhaps in different places.
Yeah.
So thank you very much, Anna. That was wonderful. A question. What exercises would you recommend to sing high without straining? Oh my gosh. If you could answer that quickly, great.
If you're warming up, don't start high, start in the middle and work your way up. I used to always try and sing really high to start with. That can just really damage your voice.
Absolutely. Great.
Do
Work
it gently.
from the middle.
Yeah,
start
do it
in
gently.
the middle, maybe go down and then high.
Yeah.
Don't start down, start in the middle and go work out, right? Like a piece of pizza dough, I suppose. What are your plans after uni, Anna?
Hopefully a couple of years off and then music college. hopefully down to London, college, academy, somewhere lovely like that. And then see what happens. Try and be a singer.
Well, we wish you well, obviously, and we're looking forward to hearing you again. So thank you very much, Anna. You can now go and turn the camera off again and cringe away if you want. So we have next up. So next we have Erin Carroll is going to do 3 songs, and I think she may or may not have introduced them. The first one's a Beyonce cover. Then she's going to do a version of Down by the Sally Gardens. And then the third song is one of her own songs, which she will tell us all about once she's performed them. So can I get Erin on? Where are you there?
Hello, my name's Erin, and I'm going to sing you 3 songs today. The first one I'm going to sing is a cover of Beyonce's song Daddy Lessons. And down here I have a loop pedal where I've done my own backing track for it, so that's what I'm messing with. Came into this world, Daddy's little girl. Daddy made a soldier out of me. Ooh. Daddy made me dance, and Daddy held my hand. But Daddy liked his whiskey with his tea. Yeah, we rode motorcycles, blackjack, classic vinyl, with tough. God is what I had to be. He said, take care of your mother, watch out for your sister. Oh, that's when he gave to me. With his gun in his hand, he told me not to cry. Oh, my daddy said, shoot. Oh, my daddy said, shoot. With his right hand on his rifle, he swore it on the Bible. My daddy said shoot. Oh, my daddy said shoot. Daddy made me fight. It wasn't always right. But he said, God, it's your second amendment. He always played it cool. But Daddy was no fool. Right before he died, he said, remember. He said, take care of your mother. Watch out for your sister. Oh, that's when he looked at me with his gun in his head. So the next song I'm going to sing is an Irish folk song called Down by the Sally Gardens. Down by the Sally Garden, my love and I did meet. She paused the Sally Garden, and softly we did greet. She bid me take love easy, as the leaves grow on the trees. But I was young and foolish, if I did not agree. In a field down by the river, my love and I did stand, and on my leaning shoulder she gently lay her hand. She bid me take life easy, as the grass grows on the wind. But I was young and foolish, and now I'm full of tears. But I was young and foolish, and now I'm full of tears. Okay, it's my last song in an original. I like to call it Sunshine and Showers. Bit of a mouthful. Yes. Sunshine and showers, I've been up here for hours thinking, when will I see you again? Sunshine and showers, I've been thinking for light years that we won't know what we could have been. But I know I'll see you again when we win. I've been sat here in this rain, just wondering if I'll ever get through the days I created with this haze. I've been soaking up the rays, just wondering if I'll ever see great days. I don't believe it, no, not today. Sunshine and showers, I've been up here for hours thinking, when will I see you again? Oh, sunshine and showers, I've been thinking for light years that we won't know what we could have been. But I know I'll see you again when we win. I've been sat here all today, just staring at you, wishing you would reply. But I know it's never just you and I. I've been sat here all alone, just wondering if you'll start to blow up my phone. But then I remember to leave it alone. see you again when we win. Oh, when we win. Thank you.
The comments coming through from everyone. Lots of wow. Let's see if we can get you here. Let's see if I can find you. Let's get you up because I'm sure we've got some questions, some comments from people. There you are. I'm going to unmute you. And I'm going to spotlight you. Hi. That was fantastic. You can see the chats. You must be delighted. People are talking about your control, about your ability to switch between chest voice and popping into your, do you call it falsetto?
Yeah.
And the control of your voice, your dynamics. And you all just kind of put us into a spell the way you were able to strip down the arrangements. People really enjoyed that looping track. I want to ask you about the song and your final song and what inspired you. But just a comment that something I noticed, you really had us in a spell. And if I would ask you to do one thing the next time you perform, is hold us in that spell at the end.
Yeah, I'm back.
You almost were embarrassed. Don't be embarrassed by your power that you have over the audience. You have us. Just let that magic dissipate. And I say this over and over again when we're examining. If you would just give it a second at the end of your song, all of you think of that before, and let the looping track end. I'm assuming it comes to an end or you have to stop it.
Yeah.
Just, maybe just hit it with your foot before you go to your water and after the first song and the second song, but because you really have this ability to hold us spellbound. So I suppose a question I have, 3 different styles, the great variety. There is some question here. What artists are your biggest influences for your songwriting from Charlotte Hall?
Ooh, that's a very good question. I think that the biggest thing for me, I came from a household that all liked really different music. So my dad was big into like the Stone Roses, and my mom was big into like Luther Vandross, and my sister was like, so that it's a lot of different like ideals that I like to take from everywhere. So I do kind of like having mysterious-ish lyrics that are simple, but you can't necessarily always work them out. Because I do tend to write in quite a pop style, because obviously that's where I come from. So it's quite simple chords. So I think that making my lyrics a bit mysterious is probably just interesting,
Yeah, there's a hidden depth to them. There's sometimes an edge, yeah.
And sometimes I like that people can make up their own idea. Like when they hear it, they can connect to something in their life instead of it being very specific to me. It's just it's general, but also, yeah, interesting.
Good question from Dean Robinson. You just kind of launched into Sally Gardens. Do you have perfect pitch? Do you know what note to start on? I mean, if you start on the wrong note, you could be in trouble, right? I would never do something like that, but I don't have perfect pitch. How do you find your note?
I have, so folk music, Irish folk music is how I started singing. Granddad taught it to me. That's how I got into singing. It's just memory at this point. It's just, it's not perfect pitch. I wish I had perfect pitch, but that song specifically, I've been singing it since I was 6. There's, it's kind of like a autopilot.
Yeah, it's what we would call muscle memory. Yeah, probably.
Big muscle.
So your voice just knows where to go.
Yeah, specifically with that song. Yeah.
Great, really lovely. Thanks a lot, Erin, and appreciate that. Let's move on to our next act, our penultimate act, which is Trevor Merrilees. And he is going to, he's got 2 original compositions for us, and he's going to talk to us about it afterwards, kind of a jazz fusion, funk, power guitar pieces. So we'll maybe talk about the pieces and afterwards, but thank you, Erin, and I'm going to turn it over to Got a lot of really good comments here, and I'm sure we'll have some questions if people can think of some questions they want to ask Trevor while I find him. And get him on here. I saw you, there you are. Trevor, welcome. Do I need to unmute you?
I've already done it, hopefully.
So Trevor, the chat is going wild here. You're getting comparisons. I've made a list. I probably didn't include everyone. We've got one person said 24/7 Trev Radio. You've been compared to Mark Knopfler, Joe Satriani, Jimi Hendrix, Steely Dan, Larry Carlton, who I don't know, I'm sorry, and Frank Zappa. That's quite a list. I suppose a question I have, if someone hasn't already asked it, what are your influences?
Yeah,
do all those ring a bell, or would one of them say no way, or are you surprised by those associations?
Over the years, I've listened to all of those guitarists and more. I wouldn't necessarily say that. I don't know. You kind of think of a style. I don't necessarily consider that I have a style, because over the years I've played many different styles, whether it just be kind of straightforward jazz. I've worked in function bands doing, standard pop tunes, that kind of thing. My foray into producing something that's purely guitar orientated is really being showcased now. And that's quite a challenge with regards keeping that going for two pieces that last 6 minutes a piece. I just feel blessed that everything that's been said, it's really sent a chill down my spine. Thank you very much, everybody, because it was really starting to feel like a trip to the dentist today. It really was.
Oh, no. I mean, your stage presence, you're just so engaging, and you're so into what you're doing. What were we going to say?
Well, thank you very much. Just to come back to answer your question with regards to influences, there was a little known guitarist, a guy called Alan Murphy, who played with a band called Go West, Level 42, etc. And I always loved his kind of trem technique work. I loved his approach. Yeah, he's still a favorite guitarist today. I've always loved Alan Holdsworth, but I would never consider myself in a million years to even come close to the kind of technical ability that man had. He was really on a different planet. But to be compared, if you like, to all the guitarists that have been mentioned, I feel deeply humbled by it. Thank you very much.
We're getting Snarky Puppy as well. Does that ring a bell for you?
Absolutely, it's a great band. I love the kind of off the wall kind of funk stuff that they do. I don't listen to enough of that, but yeah, Snarky Puppy, there's some fantastic stuff there.
Great. So a couple other questions. One of them is, how did you prepare those backing tracks?
In all honesty, the backing tracks are generic. I actually bought those tracks, but what I did with the guitar work, there was nothing with regards guitar lines or any kind of a header tune as such. So from a guitar point of view, from start to finish on each track, that's all my doing. That's my composition, if you like.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So you can buy those, essentially those compositions, and are they backing tracks, and then everything you did is essentially on top is you. That's really interesting.
Sure, absolutely. So it's just basically chord backing at the end of the day. There's a lot of that stuff around, and so from that basis, I came up with the header tune, the melody line, where I kind of keep coming back to time and time again. But again, with regards to the soloing, that's it's as any improvisation. It's on the spot. It's of the moment, and will probably be never repeated again.
Oh, there you go. That answered a question, which was how much was rehearsed and improvised. Of course, there's a lot of rehearsing that goes into being able to improvise like that, wouldn't you say?
Definitely. It's a funny thing when you're in a living room, so to speak. As much as I've put a backdrop up and a few lights just to sparkle it all up, there's a huge difference between playing in front of an audience, where it really seems to generate more of a spark for a performer. There's like a two-way thing that's always going on. and you can feed off that and give it back, which sort of heightens your performance psyche, if you like. But when you're doing that in front of an iPhone and you're trying to generate a similar kind of presence, that's very difficult. It really is difficult.
Well, you did it. How did you do it? What were you thinking about while you were performing?
With regard to what we've just watched?
Yeah. How did you imagine? How did you generate that stage presence? Did you imagine the audience being there, or?
Well, to be honest, I actually recorded those pieces probably about a dozen times before I settled on what I was happy with. So it gets to a point where, because you haven't got an audience, that you start to internalize what you actually do as a performance. Because you have no feedback from anybody, you sort of have to dig inwards to yourself in order to find something there that's worth giving, even though there's nobody there. Does that maybe make sense?
It does absolutely make sense. I mean, there's sometimes the best way to draw an audience in. It's not pushing the energy out, it's bringing them into what you're doing, being so focused on what you're doing and control that energy. I mean, a lot of people were saying, a lot of chats were mesmerizing, can't stop listening, can't stop watching, because I think you just had that ability, again, like we were saying, to kind of draw us into your spell. And sometimes it's not all about, typical opera singer playing to the gods. But sometimes it is just being so focused on what you're doing that we're all absolutely engaged along with you and what you're doing. And you really nailed that, Trevor. Congratulations. I'm gonna probably a lot more things to say. Everyone's wondering about your backdrops and how you got that. You want to just quickly, how did you just have some strobe lights and that was where you are right now, or how did you set that up?
The lights I've had kicking around for quite a while. I mean, to be honest, I used to do it's like solo work around the pubs and clubs anyway, kind of vocal work. Obviously, all of that work's gone now. So, with regard to the backdrop, it's just something I borrowed because, as you can see behind me, it's all just kind of bare brickwork. I thought I'd better tidy it up or hide it in some way, and just adding a light and, dare I say, my shirt. It's just
a lot of comments about the shirt as well, Trevor. That went over very well with the audience. So it just goes to show everyone, the students who are preparing these interim recitals and the final recitals and doing these videos, you might be stuck at home under current conditions. You might not have the option of going out in the hall, but there's a lot you can do with, different backdrops, experimenting with costumes. It is a performance. Use what you have, right?
Exactly.
Which is what you did, Trevor. Congratulations, Trevor. That was great. I'm going to go on to our final act, which, thanks a lot, Trevor, again. And it's Mari Mackenzie. She's going to be performing a set of reels and jigs for us. So take it away, Mari.
Hi, I'm Maddie and this is Hannah, and we're going to play a couple of sets for you today. The first set we're playing is a set of reels, and the first tune is called The Sing Kettle, which is written by the famous fiddle player Sean Ryan. And then we're going to play into a reel called Rutherglen Road by David Foley, and into Fox Hunters, which is trad. two jigs called Feed the Ducks, which I got off the Liz Doherty album, and my own tune, which is called Aye, That's a Bit Better.
You. Hannah is not with us in the meeting, right? Let's bring.
Right here.
Oh, you're together. Fantastic. I was hoping you'd both be there. Let's spotlight you. Oh, Fred's already done that for me. So well done, both of you. I mean, there were a lot of comments, I think you've seen in the chat, about how well you each work with each other. And it looks like you're cohabiting. You've been friends for a long time. Have you been playing with each other for a long time?
Yeah, 3 years. Yeah, pretty much.
3 years. So since you've been in Newcastle, more or less, or before that?
Yeah.
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 And we could really sense the connection you each had. You were really looking at each other, and obviously felt comfortable with each other, and almost kind of knew what each other was going to do. And you could tell that you guys were very close, and you can't kind of make that up, can you? You have to put the time in playing with each other, and obviously a great deal of affection for each other. I can tell. What is the biggest challenge playing with each other? Do you ever have arguments?
No, not really. No, not at all.
No? I mean, Mari, if it's your pieces, if you're soloing, do you kind of take the lead and deciding, no, it should be this tempo? Or are you negotiating?
Probably. It's kind of a mix. It's a group effort.
Any other questions, please, in the chat? A question from quite a few of us, including me, was your bow position, how you were holding that bow. It looked like an enormously long bow, number one. Was it a normal bow? And you were holding it almost halfway up. I must admit, I've never seen that before. Is that something that's unique to you, or is that common to what you're playing? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I come from the Glasgow Donegal tradition, and not everyone in Donegal does it, but it's quite common because it's more about the balance between the bow and how long it is and all that jazz. So yeah, I've always played it like that.
So it's definitely a matter of holding the bow. It's not a matter of originally it would have been performed with a much shorter bow, like a Baroque bow.
So just it's more of a balance thing.
So you get the kind of, that gives you maybe the kind of swing because you've got weight on the other side of the hand as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Right. And what are you going to continue with these pieces into your interim and final, or are these pieces because it's the first performance of the year, you've got kind of locked and loaded, you two?
No, I'll definitely just choose other tunes. Really.
So you'll probably perform them. You're looking to submit them as your interim. I was going to ask you how you're going to develop those pieces going forward.
No, I'll choose other tunes that aren't the same ones.
Okay, so you like to play a lot of. There's a question from Sam. Have you ever heard of the fiddle player Liz Carroll? Does this remind?
Yeah, she's my favorite fiddle player in the world.
She's your favorite fiddle. Is that a joke? Did Sam actually know the answer to that? That was a bit of a joke. He's laughing as well. People enjoying the ornaments. How do you come up with ornaments? Do you start by playing slowly and then speed the piece up for your ornaments, or? Are they improvised, or have you worked out those ornaments before you perform?
No, they're kind of improvised. You first learn the tune, and then you just, as you play the tune round, you just add in the little ornaments. They're kind of more like variations, so you just put them in wherever you want.
Well, it was really enjoyable. That was a really great way to end this evening of student performances, our first of the year. So thank you, Mari and Hannah. I'll let you go and cringe if you want, but it looks like were you happy with it? Were you happy with that?
Yeah, sure.
Or you should be. That was really, I think everyone, just a final round of applause virtually for everyone. Can everyone give all of our performers a round of applause? I would also like to thank Fred Hollingsworth for being a fab producer. He's made this go flawlessly, and I'm really delighted. And I would also like to thank our audience out there who's tuned in to our YouTube channel. I hope you've all enjoyed this. As usual, an amazing mix of different performances and different styles and different energies, but I'm really excited for the year. And I don't know about you all, but that really made my evening. I think we all needed that, a little bit of cheering up and some great energy and renewing and positivity from this music. So thank you to all the performers. Thank you, Fred. Thank you all in the audience for coming. Have a great, safe evening. And I believe Mariam Khizai will be the host next week. So you'll see Mariam next Thursday. So I'll see you in a couple of weeks. Thanks, everyone. Take care. All the